Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Daniel Ezek, and this is Podcast for Life. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Daniel Ezek. This is Podcast for Life. And now we are beginning to celebrate the new year. 2020 is, and has gone down in history. Welcome 2021. Yesterday was New Year's Day, and for me, it was a good day. I just pretty much took the day off, spent it with Kathy, and did a few little things. And New Year's Eve was really good, um, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed vacation last couple of weeks, and I'm sorry I didn't get to my podcast last couple of weeks, but let's not worry about that right now. You know, there's been a lot going on in these last few weeks, but we'll get to that eventually. Now, what I would like to do is to let y'all know that, yeah, okay, um, yeah, oh boy, okay, this is my fault now. I'm not prepared like I wanted to be, but um, how do we start? Okay, yeah, my apologies for my unpreparedness. I'm sorry for that coughing, but sometimes it couldn't be helped. COPD's got me down somewhat. Now, getting back to what I was talking about before, what I would like to let you all know is we're going to open up for sponsorship. So send to daniel.esick@outlook.com if you would like to help sponsor the program, and I'll be more than happy to discuss that with you. Um, come to some deals, and I figure what we could do is we could offer 6 slots of 30 seconds each, and that'll be 3 minutes of advertising time. And hopefully, we'll be able to support the podcast with that. There's certain expenses that need to be met. We got electricity, we got internet, um, we got computer time, we got research. You know, bills are piling up, and quite frankly, I need some help with those bills. So, like I said, we're going to open it up to sponsorship. So, if you have a business or want to get the word out for something, send me an email at daniel.esick@outlook.com and put in the message line sponsor podcast for life or words to that effect. And I'll be sure to look at your emails first. Now, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and do our first commercial. My podcast at this point is sponsored in part by the Society for Liberty and Prosperity. The Society for Liberty and Prosperity is fighting for our freedoms. We have a Facebook group, and we have a fairly active group of people. We're always got room for more. So go to Facebook and search Society for Liberty and Prosperity, or you can go to Society for Liberty and Prosperity at www.societylp.8m.net. And right there, that'll give you all the information what we're about and all that you need to worry about. And our listeners that are supporting our podcast already, I want to thank you very much. And for our viewers on Get Vocal, uh, let me remind you, because I noticed a few of you are absent. Uh, our podcast is live on www.getvocal, that's GETVOKL.com/podcast for life. And we air every Saturday at 4 o'clock. And what I like to do, when I don't have a guest, I like to do open lines. Now, if you are on Get Vocal, you will notice that there are 4 squares on the screen. I'm in the top square or the top left square, depending on your settings. If you wish to join the conversation, all you have to do is hit the red grab this link spot or grab this spot, and that'll put you right in that window. For everybody else who is listening or watching me live, which includes Facebook and YouTube, you may call in. The phone number is 606 545 2019. And my phone lines are open right now. I have limited resources in that, but it is what it is. We'll deal with it. Feel free to call in and you'll be right on the air. I have no call screeners. So if you're willing, I'm willing. But I must insist, participating in my program to be respectful, to be informative, and to be entertaining. Those are the 3 things. If you think you fit the bill, call in. Grab this spot. We'll have a conversation. Now, the topic today is the year end. We're going to be looking backward, reminiscing about 2020, and then we'll be looking forward to 2021. I'll be talking about what I've seen in the past and what I see ahead. Anybody that wishes to join the conversation, go ahead and feel free. Either call in or hit the grab this spot. Okay, now 2020 has been quite a year. It came in with a whole lot of promise. Our elected officials have done pretty well and surprised many of us. Now, in the COVID-19 pandemic hit. Now, right at first, we didn't know a whole lot about the COVID-19 virus. We didn't know what kind. We knew it was a virus. We knew it was unleashed in China. Now, the thing is, we don't know what the circumstance. We still don't know the circumstances by which it was released in China. So, with all of us missing that information, there are quite a few conspiracy theories going about. Let me go ahead and share you my conspiracy theory on this. Okay. I don't have any proof or anything. I don't offer proof, but this is my speculation on what may have happened. Based on the information that I've seen, COVID-19 virus was created as a biological weapon. And China had it and was working on it, working to weaponize it. Now, for years, China has been our enemy, and our democratic leaders have been kowtowing to China. President Bush, in his fight against terrorism, pretty much ran out of money, and China wanted to delete some money. Ever since then, we've been paying that back, and we've also been giving financial aid to China. So that's a pretty good racket. You know, you get money for just being there, and then you get money out, money in, loaned out. So you get to make a whole lot of money. You get to make a whole lot of money on both ends, and it's stupid. And really, President Trump pretty much set that right until recently. I'll get to that in a little bit. Now, for the last 4 years, President Trump has been doing a wonderful job. He has been promoting liberty and freedom. And I've really been grateful for that. I'm very grateful for the last 4 years. Now, let me jump ahead a little bit to the current events. I may be repeating this later on, but for now, I think it's important. No, my second thought, just know that I have something to say about that. So anyway, with the COVID-19 pandemic being here, Governor Andy Beshear, I believe he's doing the best that he can. And just before he made the declaration for the state of emergency, he was very gracious to me and gave me a half hour of his time after making a speech that I attended at an event that I attended. During that half hour, he promised me that he would not politicize the pandemic because that was one of my fears. He also promised me that he would do the best job that he can to safeguard the citizens of Kentucky, which I believe for the most part he has. And another part of that discussion was his constitutional limitations, and he promised that he would be within those bounds. And he has no choice but to be in those bounds. Well, the thing is we have the courts, we have the Department of Justice, we have the checks and balances. And I do believe Governor Beshear is sincere in what he does. And yes, the courts have pulled his leash a little bit, back a little bit. Um, right now, I do believe that we have guidelines for beating the COVID, and he is urging all Kentuckians to to abide by them. But as far as I'm aware, we have no real mandates for anything. There are a list of suggestions. There are a list of what we should do. But the thing is, the responsibility of compliance falls upon each one of us, whether we do or not. And I'm taking a look at how the COVID virus has been going throughout the year. I'm currently conducting an audit uh, of the records and June or July, putting all the numbers into a spreadsheet so that I can graph it out because the graphs that I've seen the Kentucky's COVID website troubles me, in that we have a spike and then we have a second spike that was a little bit bigger, and then we have a third spike that is way bigger than the other two. And the thing is I've heard in places like Nashville, Tennessee, Spokane, Washington, California, and New York, you know, that they're they have all admitted to exaggerating the numbers and combining the numbers of COVID-19 with the flu, influenza. And the thing is I'm I'm not accusing, but I am suspicious. So I'm doing the audit to alleviate my suspicions as to is that really what's going on, or could that possibly be what's going on? And when I complete my audit, I did promise the governor in my email um, I would send her a report to the Department of Health, and I would CC him. So that's where that's at. When I get that done, I get that done. Hopefully, we'll be out of the pandemic before I get it done. That way, it won't even matter, but it'll give me a guide as to where we got to go. But there are great things of great importance going on. Okay, so that's enough about the COVID. Well, no, not really, because the thing is the COVID has since mutated and it has become a possibly more contagious, but less virulent, therefore less dangerous. And it may continue to mutate and be where it is more easily caught, but also easier to survive. On top of that, we've made great progress in the treatments, and thanks to President Trump and Operation Warp Speed, we have a vaccine now that is currently being distributed throughout the United States and the world. Soon, your doctor or your board of health or someone of giving out vaccines will be in contact with you, and it may take a year, 6 months, but the faster they can make the vaccine, the faster they can put it out. And I encourage the uh, drug companies to work as quickly as they can to put that out there. Personally, what I would like to do, and I'm going to on my next doctor's appointment, I'm going to request this. I'm going to request to do an antibody check. Now, I don't believe I've been exposed to COVID-19 or anything, but the thing is the virus is airborne. Well, they're saying social distancing is 6 foot, but that doesn't mean that the virus is not in the air. It just means that it's more difficult to catch outside of 6 foot. So, my curiosity with me is could I have gotten enough of the COVID to trigger my immune system and build up the antibodies without getting the vaccine? Because if that has happened, it would just be a waste of money for me to get the vaccine. The news is people that view and listen to my podcast, you're smart. You're smart people. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to tell you to do it. You're going to make decisions for yourself. But it's good to know that people are going to do different things different ways. And I told you why I'm going to do what I'm going to do. So far, my bosses haven't told me that I had to get it. The government hasn't told me that I had to get it. And if that happens, I'm going to sit there and raise the issue with that. Because I don't believe that the vaccine should be mandated, basically because of the fact that we have an immune system and it grows and learns and does. And when something new comes along, the immune system does a great job of trying to get rid of it. Now, some things are more deadly than others. I'll grant you that. And COVID, when it first came out, it was very deadly. And I like it, like I said, I believe it was weaponized. Now, everything that has happened since then, and yes, I might be wrong, but if I'm right, the government can save a lot of the vaccine for people that really do need it, that don't have the antibodies, to build their antibodies up in a controlled fashion. The thing is a lot of the critics sit there and say, well, it takes years for the immune system to react. Well, what happens when you give the shot? Because when you give the shot, you're given the code, genetic code of the illness. And whether it's made from blood or made synthetically, I don't think it much matters. The effect should still be the same. If you get a little bit of something, not enough to make you sick, your immune system will see it, they'll eradicate it, and then it knows it the next time and doesn't let it get a foothold. The problem is when you get a lot of it, or if it's something that does take time to build. That's my curiosity of do I have antibodies to it? Like I said, if I do, great. I don't have to take the vaccine. I'm already immune to it. If I don't, okay, well then let's get the vaccine, get the antibodies built up, and that's my plan. I know there are some people that are dead set against it, and then there are people that are all for it, don't want to question it. I'm not criticizing either side of the fence, but we are, God set us, created us in a way for us to survive. And if you take a look at who is dying from the COVID, it is mostly the ill and infirm, the elderly. You know, a lot of these. Now, the thing is Governor Bashir every day when he gives the stats, he memorializes certain of the victims by reiterating their age, sex, Their age, sex, and what else? Um, county, age, sex, and county that they come from. And a lot of times he's reduced to we've had some days where we've had so many deaths that what he'll do is he'll sit there and say, uh, Knox County, 5 deaths, 3 women, uh, ages 64 to 92. Yeah. Well, the thing is deaths happen anyway. Yeah. Life itself is terminal. Life itself is a terminal condition. But the thing is, what we want best quality of life possible. We want to have a happy life. Yes, we can admit the truth. We're all going to die someday. But the thing is, it is up to each one of us to take care of ourselves, to do what it takes to be healthy and happy. And happiness is not guaranteed, it is what we make of ourselves. And positivity goes along with happiness. As you think positively and as you do positive things and you have positive experiences, you can have a healthy and happy life. You eat right and exercise. Uh, Eat right and exercise, and you managing your health. There are people that believe in supplements and everything else, and the thing is, there's been some research that's in there to say farm goods are no good. And the thing is, they used to say breast milk was no good for the babies. And the thing is that's got to be a lie because everything that God has put here for our survival and for our pleasure and happiness, and to be taken advantage of. Yes, there are rules to everything, processes to everything, laws to be obeyed. Man is nowhere without his laws. The laws reveal the sins. Criminal activity is an injury to the people. That's why we have laws. To we have to. The law's not there for the lawful. The law is here for the lawless. To give us an idea of what to do with those that fail to abide by the law. In most cases, it's fines and jail, damages, torts. You have civil and criminal suits at the law, and then when you go to court, you've already you've already lost. When you go to court, you've already lost. You've lost something, or somebody's lost something, or somebody somewhere has been damaged. And the thing is the law's not here out here for the people that abide by the law. The people that abide by the law refer to the law to know how to live. The law is here for the lawless, so that their sins can be revealed. So we know who they are. So we know enough to haul them into court, put them in front of a judge, hear their case, and then put them in jail and what to do with them. And yes, there are some extenuating circumstances that cause us to fail in that endeavor. We're all sinners, in the eyes of God. We all sin and come short of the ideal. You know, we are all sinners. We all have the evil inside of us. But the thing is, we also have the good inside of us, and that is what we need to let out. Okay, is that enough preaching today? Uh, I think so. That's Okay, we just talked about COVID-19. Kobe Bryant's death. Oh, by the way, I'm using Washington Post headline. Oh, yeah, here we go. This year, President Donald Trump was impeached with a made up story and had absolutely no evidence and no even resemblance of the fact. And I believe it was orchestrated by Mr. Uh, Congressman Schiff. Well, anyway, yeah, it's there's a word that rhymes with it, but kind of try to replace that my vocabulary with it, but I can't remember his name right now. But it sounds like that bad word. You know, it's like I don't give up, and that's his name. You know, it sounds like it. So trying to keep this family friendly, but I can't for the life of me remember his name. Shift, thank you. So um, I believe it was orchestrated by him, and it got traction. Nancy Pelosi got into the act, and they actually impeached and sent a letter of impeachment to Donald Trump, and then we went to have hearings in the Senate, and I missed just about all the action because I got busy doing other things. You know, I was interested in it, but and I got a couple of hours of some of the hearings. But the thing is at the end of it, Mr. Trump was not convicted, and the vote wasn't even close. You know, he was pretty well exonerated. Half the Democrats voted for Mr. Trump. There just wasn't any evidence or anything. It was all made up. And now it's come to light how it was made up. And that's being discussed elsewhere. So it is what it is. You know, Mr. Trump's been a wonderful president for 4 years, and he's been putting up with the Democrats fighting him every step of the way. Every time you turn around, it's one thing after another with the Democrats. Oh, we're going to get him on this. We're going to get him on that. Russian collusion. Yeah. Okay. What I find about Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, is he's an honorable, sincere man. Sincerely wants to do a good job. And I admire him as to how he's withstood all the pressures that he's been under. Because he's been under tremendous pressure. Now, in 2008, I took out Mitch McConnell for his seat in the United States Senate. I got 14% of the vote in the primary. Uh, I'm going to come back to Mitch McConnell here in a minute. But I up during one of my campaign stops, and we had a nice little talk for about 15 minutes, and shook hands and went on about our lives. And during that conversation, I asked him if he would ever consider running for president. And I told him I think he'd make a good one. Well, after he's done it, and after he's done the job for 4 years, I think he's a great one. He's one of the best presidents we've ever had. I don't know which one's greater, Donald Trump or Ronald Reagan, but those are, you know, on the Society for Liberty Prosperity. I think we're going to put on H, a Hall of Fame, Presidential Hall of Fame. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through, we're going to put on there uh, George Washington. And this is right off the top of my head is who we're going to put on there. We're going to put on there George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, Teddy Roosevelt, John Kennedy, Ronald Reagan, and Donald Trump. And the reason that all these are great presidents is because they have all worked towards liberty. They all did it a different way. They all did it, and the thing is, don't tell me that they're all Republicans because I know for a fact they're not all Republicans. So don't tell me that. Like, I'll let you take a look and see who's who. So the Republican Party didn't even exist before Abraham Lincoln anyway. Abraham Lincoln was one who created the Republican Party. Getting back to Mr. McConnell, I ran against him in 2008. Well, Mr. McConnell pretty much is the reason I ran against him uh, in 2008 is because he was siding with Democrats too much. And after railing about it with him for about a year, I made the decision in January 2008 to run against him. I paid my fee and filed my paperwork, and I took the year campaigning. I'm happy with how I done. And the thing is I before that I founded the Society for Liberty, and I worked with that. And then when I was done campaigning against Mr. McConnell, um, I went to work with the Society for Liberty and Prosperity full time, and that lasted for about a year before the pressure got to me and I had a breakdown. Now, I'm not going to go into all the gory details of my breakdown, but we're just going to note that for history. I had a breakdown. I ended up hospitalized. I ended up coming back out, getting into recovery, and I've had to work at my recovery. And it took me a couple of years to recover to the point where I could start working part time. And I'm still working part time. So things things are okay with me. I'm trying to find things where I can volunteer, things that I don't get paid for what I do, except at my part time job. And the thing is, I was fortunate enough to have disability insurance with Social Security, and I still have disability claim. I'm still not confident enough to hold down a full time job, I don't believe. But the job I have now is really good. And I haven't been able to find a full time job that pays me more than uh, what I make at work and what I make with my disability. Um, Social Security has the work that I do limited to a certain dollar amount. I've translated that out to the hours. And the thing is oftentimes I go to done for, you know, but the thing is keep my hours down. Occasionally, I have another day that I can do a lot more work. Plus, the thing is, seeing as I am part time with at my work, uh, we've negotiated flexibility in my schedule, and I have time that I need to devote to other interests. So I'm working on time management and not stressing. And when I decided to undertake a task, I'll take a look at what's that task going to do for me for the next month. And at the beginning of each month, it's what are all the tasks that I need to do and how long it's going to take me through the month. And I actually budget my time just like everybody else budgets their money. And I also budget my money. Uh, but I budget my time too. And what I do is I think about, okay, how long is it going to take me to do this? And then, okay, that's how long I think it'll take me to do that. I double it. That way, there it gives me um, plenty of time, plenty of break time. And the thing is so far it seems to be working. Uh, that is my routine. You know, that's how I do things. Um, I've got to be quite active. I do advocate for people. I do advocate for myself. I do. I have quite a few line arms in the fire, but I'm managing. And the thing is I've been forced to take on new roles, and as I've taken on new roles, I've had to lay back on other roles. So I'm at the point now. I'm at, and I need to undertake a new role. Something's got to give. So if I do take on a new role, it has to be something that is very important to me. This podcast is an example. It's important to me to be supportive, to be encouraging, to be a help. I'm a voice crying in the wilderness, but I'm also the one with his hand stretched out in love. Okay, yeah. We talked about the president, we talked about Minnesota, we talked about COVID. What else? I'm sorry I didn't make an agenda this time around, but I'm using the timeline from the Washington Post. And Washington Post, if any of you people are uh, listening to me, I would appreciate you. You know, you cut me a check for all this free advertising I'm doing today. Uh, I'm taking a look at, yeah, it's all newspapers doing these timelines. And, if it means something to you, I'd appreciate getting a check. You can mail it to P.O. Box 281, Harborville, Kentucky, 40906. Stock market crash of 2020. Oh, I didn't even know that. Coronavirus pandemic triggered a global recession as numerous countries went into lockdown. Oh, okay. Well, that doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me. But the thing is, thank you, Donald Trump. You gave us the greatest economy the world has ever seen. In the year 2000, and then when COVID hit, destroyed that economy, and then you did the impossible. As soon as we opened back up the economy, which was about 3 months later, when we started realizing that the COVID virus was not quite as deadly as what we were led to believe, that you have again surpassed expectations and given us again the greatest economy the world has ever seen. And by the end of the year, we're starting to break records again. Uh, Unfortunately, we are also breaking records on national debt. That needs to be addressed, and I believe Mr. Trump will address it should he be president, and Mr. Biden, should he become president, I call on him to address it. We need to stop this deficit spending. We need to start getting balanced budgets. Actually, I would like to see surplus budgets. That way, there we can pay down the national debt fast. I'm not ready for that yet. I think the Washington Post put it in what they believe is the order of importance here because it is not in chronological order here. Kamala Harris, the vice president. Yeah, she scares me almost as much as Nancy Pelosi does. Oh, Nancy Pelosi should be in jail. Her crime, destroying government documents on national TV. That's her crime. That's the chief among, well, that's the chief among the other crimes that she's done that I'm concerned with. Is either Ginsburg's death. Okay, yeah, and I supported Amy Barrett to become justice in the Supreme Court. I actively lobbied, after checking her out, I actively lobbied for her to uh, be confirmed. And I believed that she was a staunch constitutionalist. But boy, was I surprised. And yes, I was very surprised by the Supreme Court Texas case. Only Judge Alito and Thomas were the dissenters. The Constitution compels, orders the Supreme Court to hear the Texas case. Now, the thing is before you hear it, you don't think about it. You got to verify the facts. Then once you verify the facts, then you got to decide what you're going to do about it. And really, the Texas case would have been the best case to expose what the Democrats have done, what I believe the Democrats have done. Oh, yeah. And I believe it with all my heart. I've seen so much evidence about the wrongdoing and the improprieties, and they're calling it unfounded voter fraud in the media. Don't fall for it, people. Please don't fall for it. The evidence is out there. They just don't want to look at it. And the thing is the Democrats have been at the forefront of voter fraud for many, many years. And that's another reason why I became more politically active back in 2007 because I realized what was going on. I realized the extent of what was going on. Before that, it was like, it's what they do. But it's been going on longer than that, and I just thought that that was normal. When I learned that it's not normal and it's something that needs to be spoken against, I started speaking against it, and I speak against it again. Okay, we'll talk a little bit. Alrighty, November 3rd, when the voting stopped, or when the voting, the polls closed, and then the voting began to be counted. Kentucky was among the first states, if not the first state, it was the first state that I was aware of. And I was watching the Electoral College map. And the first uh, state that I seen the report was Kentucky. Now I've been hearing different stories, so that may be disputed. But as far as I know what I've seen. And according to what I've seen Kentucky was the first state to report. Thank you, Governor Beshear. Thank you, Secretary of State Michael Adams. And thank you, Clerk Court and the other county clerks for giving us a free, fair, and honest election. And I do hope it continues. I really do. Because what I've seen coming out of Pennsylvania, Georgia, Massachusetts, Illinois, California, Washington, Oregon, Arizona, Utah, is what I've seen is no doubt criminal, and if it's not criminal, it should be. Stuffing the ballot box. Illegal aliens voting. I'm sorry, I believe citizens should be the only ones with the right to vote in our elections. So if that offends anybody, tough. That's what I believe. Citizenship means something. And it means we have a say in our government. And then there's stuff in the ballot box. And then there's the voting machines themselves. There's accusations of flipping votes, accusations of not counting a vote as a vote. Counting it as either more than a vote or less than a vote. Depending on the value. And the thing is last I knew 1 + 1 = 2. 1 + 1 does not equal 2.6. Where's the 6 come from? That's 2/3. That's approximately 2/3. No, I don't know. These questions need to be answered. But we need the court to go over the evidence in order to answer those questions. Because the thing is, the complaint has been made. And what's supposed to happen in our justice system is a complaint is made. Then evidence is filed. And then what happens is the defendant has his say. And then you got different things in different states. Sometimes they go back and forth. Man, I appreciate the back and forth. There should be discussions and arguments on both sides. Yeah. I don't really care about how much back and forth there is. I believe that you should have a direct and a redirect and a recross, and justice should not be dispensed in a hasty fashion. It needs to be dispassionate and it needs to be lengthy. You need to have the evidence there, and I guess is when you have jury, your peers, they have to understand the evidence, what the evidence points, and they have to understand the testimony. So, and this idea of experts coming in using their lingo, well, the experts come in, they come in there and use their own lingo. How is the jury going to possibly understand that? And the jury is the one that has to understand that because they're the ones going to judge. And anybody that allows a judge to judge without a jury, I think it's a dang fool. I've been accused of a crime only once in my life. And I stood upon my constitutional right to a jury trial. And the thing is, then they were hemming and hawing, taking a long time. And I turned around and I says, I want a speedy trial too. Well, then we'll bring you in tomorrow. I go, not without a jury, you won't. Oh, well, wait a minute now. We need a couple months to get this jury together. I want a speedy trial. I want it done within 30 days. Well, you can't have it like that. Well, how fast can we have? You know, I made such a fuss about it. They never did tender the evidence. The uh, this attorney withdrew the charge. And then there was another time that I did the exact same thing, and I had to go back 6 times to court. And the first question I had in that for that court is, where's the accuser? Is the accuser here to accuse formally? And the judge would know the district attorney. Is the accuser here? No, Your Honor, the accuser's not. And I had to go back to court 6 times. It took me a year to get rid of it. But in the end, this attorney failed to produce the accuser, and the judge had no choice but to dismiss. So the thing is people that take a plea bargain, they're probably guilty. And a plea bargain is the best they think they can do. But if they're not guilty, and woe to the district attorneys or police, or whoever it is that intimidates them into taking a plea bargain, the sin is on them. But it's a good portion that of criminal cases are pleaded out of court. And what that is that's just, well, we're coming to an agreement. And whatever the plea bargain is it's still an admission of guilt. It is still a plea of guilty. Couch it however you want. And yeah, you have the no contest plea. I'm not going to contest anything. And I'm not going to speak on anything. Okay? That's still a guilty plea. Because you're not contesting anything. So, okay. I believe it's something that should be admitted in court anyway. Yeah, no contest plea. But the thing is when the judge asks or it's off the charges, and then he asks, "I'll plead you guilty or not?" I've always played not. Even if I am guilty of something, and I'm not going to say whether I'm guilty of anything or not, but even if I am guilty of something, I'm still going to say not because I want them to prove their charges. The I don't believe that's a lie because I have a belief that I'm not guilty, and I want them to prove to me how I am guilty. Doesn't matter what the law is. It could be a citation for littering. It's the same thing. We are entitled by the Constitution to proper redress, and we are entitled to a jury trial, and we are entitled to the right to speak, And we also have the right to privacy, not to be disturbed. Although that's writing. And there are people trying to steal that. And there are people trying to destroy the Constitution. I call them the enemies to liberty. And among the powers that be, there are many enemies to liberty. I don't believe they're just enemies to liberty. I believe they're enemies to the United States. There's been a lot going on this year, especially politically. God bless Kathy. She's tired of it. I don't blame her. I'm tired of it too. But the thing is, that doesn't mean that we stop fighting. We have to keep looking to keep our liberty. They're not without a fight. I'm not the one to do that. But let's get into something else. West Coast wildfires. California wildfires. Basically, the environmentalists have declared that it isn't right to clean the woods out. Just let it pile up, let nature take its course. And that's the best way to manage the woods. Don't clean them out. Don't create the fire breaks. Don't do the backfires. Don't burn anything you don't have to burn. Just to try to keep it from burning later on. Um, Firefighting has made a lot of progress over the last 200 years. And woodland management has come a long way in the last 50. The thing is, some of these environmentalists need to get out of the way of the people that know how to do their job, know how to manage. And California needs to let them in to do their job. California needs to take all the dead wood, take it out, place it someplace safe, and burn it. The thing is, yeah, if we weren't here, the woods would be burning, lightning strike, set the woods on fire. A certain percentage of them will burn and will die. And trees have lives too. Yeah, I just keep a tree alive if possible too. But we do have to take a certain amount for them for building materials, for paper, for different things. But the thing is, if the wood's already dead, why not collect it and let's build a bonfire, set it light, and enjoy it? Yeah, why shouldn't we do that? Okay, Ruth Bader Ginsburg dies. Amy Coney Barrett, I support her, take her place. I was so I'm so angry now that because I worked so hard to uh, after checking her record and finding out that she was a constitutionalist, finding out that she judged fairly from what I see. I've only looked at two of her cases. So maybe I looked at the two best cases. I don't know. But I did like what I seen, and I did agree with those judgments. I'm not going to say which two cases I looked at. Yeah, there's her record's extensive. You know, I think she'd be she was a good choice for Supreme Court. So I sent letters to Mitch McConnell and Rand Paul, advocated for her. Donald Trump is the one that appointed her. And the thing is I even sent an email to Hal Rogers, you know, expressing my approval. I was so happy when she did uh, get confirmed. I'll go, okay, now we're ready for the election. Well, here comes Texas case number 200155. She joined in with the Democrats. It should have been 5-3. The three Democrats being against it, for whatever unconstitutional grounds they had. And then the other five should have been with Alito and Thomas. Yeah, we do have to uh, hear this case. Yeah, they should have heard the case. The thing is of all of the lawsuits, and we're not just talking about Donald Trump, we're talking about ordinary citizens, we're talking about legal organizations, we're talking about non-profit groups, we're talking about lawyers, we're talking about all kinds of people, even governments, have all filed suits in one way or another, especially in Pennsylvania, I think North Carolina, Alabama, I think Georgia, I know, Pennsylvania, I know, Illinois, I know. But out of all the suits, all the judges, none of them would hear the case. The furthest I heard of any one of these cases is that they allowed opening arguments. And then when the opening arguments were done, there was no rebuttal. The judge just summarily dismissed the case. And that's not right. That's not justice. Justice means, in our jurisprudence, that's subject to the protections of the Constitution, that a complaint is made, evidence is tendered, a response to the complaint is made, discussion be undertaken regarding the complaint, arguments are presented for both sides, and a jury shall judge. The judge's role in this is number one, to keep order, because this can be emotionally charged, especially when you're looking at your liberties and you're seeing somebody trying to take something away from you. Any of you ever tried to take candy from a baby? Pretty much that's what the Democrats have done to our country. The elections are our same government. We choose who represents us in government. It is the predominant way that we have, if we don't do anything else but vote, we have a say in our government. Because to vote, you need to research who the candidates are, I don't stand for, what they have in mind for the future, what they've done in the past. And either you agree with them or you don't. And if you don't agree with them, you got no business voting for them. And if you can't agree with either one of the candidates that's up there, I don't blame you for sitting down. But let me recommend something. If you find that you have two candidates and you can't agree with either one of them, then maybe the next time the office comes around, you need to visit the county clerk or even Start visiting with the county clerk the day after the election and inquire about what it takes to run for that office. And then maybe the next time it comes around, you can run for that office. And if you do get that office, then it'll be your agenda going forward. You know, and you'll have everybody that agrees with you behind you. Everybody that agrees with you, vote for you. They're behind you. And once you get into office, yeah, you want to be fair and honest. You want to keep everybody happy. But there's always going to be that small segment of society that's not going to be happy no matter what you do. And when you get to that small segment of society that's not going to be happy no matter what you do, don't worry about keeping them happy. Keep the ones happy that are possible to be made happy. And I believe if you are to err and you err on the side of liberty, you can't go wrong because then you're creating more choice for people, not less. I don't like my liberty being taken away. And the Constitution of the United States is currently under threat. And it's been under threat since 2008. And actually, it may have been under threat since before that. But actually, 2000, probably 2006 is probably when it began because Obama was elected in 2008. Yeah, that's right, January 6th or January 20th, 2009 is when he took office. So, and that is when the birthright, uh, and that is when the birthright, proving the president's birthright, was destroyed. Because President Obama still has yet to tender a contemporary, a birth certificate contemporary to his birth, the original, the one dated in 1962. He's provided a contemporary birth certificate, and some have claimed it's a forgery, but legal or not, he tendered it, and the courts have accepted that, apparently. But also introduced the idea of standing, and I'd like to know when that came to be. And when I get time, I'll research it and I'll find out when that came to be. Because the thing is when you're dealing with constitutional issues, the Constitution gives the requirement of who has standing. It gives a whole list there in Article 2 of who has standing to do what. Especially in the presidential election. I'm so disappointed in this whole year. I'm happy with the election, how it turned out, all the way up until about 10 o'clock. I went to bed. They quit counting. I don't know why, but I went to bed. Okay, I'll deal with it in the morning. Then when I got up in the morning, they still hadn't started counting. It was about 2 o'clock when they started counting again, and all the votes went to Biden. And wait a minute now, there's about 4,000 Trump votes that disappeared. What's up with that? And then states that had previously called Biden. What's up with that? It's what I see. And that's what I see. It's ridiculous. And to sit there and say that the accusations are unfounded is ridiculous. But the thing is January 6th. Congress convenes. Vice President uh, Mike Pence will have the pile of electoral votes in front of him. And as president of the Senate, he will open, unseal those votes and count them. Now, there is a dispute procedure. Now, I don't know Mike Pence personally, but I do have faith that he is a man of integrity. And as a man of integrity, he will act according to the Constitution. He will call the state, ask if there are any disputes, and then once a dispute is established, Congress then recesses to each house and they debate the issue. And then when they come back, having dealt with the issue, the vote being recertified by Congress, the votes are counted. The thing is there are still disputes that have not been settled. So any state that has not settled the disputes of their election, which means that they dismissed it without a trial. They have a complaint that was dismissed before the evidence was presented, before the evidence was allowed to be presented, because the court has to has to call for the evidence to be presented. Because you don't just put evidence out for the public to see. So it has to be requested of the court. And the judge has to be the first one to see it. And then the judge decides what to release. But you don't do that until everybody gets ready. So anyway, with that being the case, there are unsettled grievances. And I believe that if anyone has certified their electoral votes with an action needs to be taken against them because we need to enforce the law, the election law. State legislatures make election law, not officials and not Congress. State legislatures make the election law, run the election. The election is their job. President is elected by the Electoral College. Now, how the system has been, how I understand it, is November 3rd, we all go vote. Based on that, those votes go to the Electoral College. And delegates are chosen by the legislature. And they vote accordingly to the popular vote for the state. That is the way that it's been working. So pretty much the Electoral College has been a rubber stamp on the local elections. And in each state they voted. Sent their votes to Washington. And then when they get to Washington, the president of the Senate opens them up council. And there again, another rubber stamp to our election. Along each rubber stamp along the way, there should be an opportunity, ample opportunity. And part of that is making accusations of voter fraud. And part of that is putting forth the evidence of voter fraud. And the most important part of that is compelling the judge hearing the case to accept the evidence, because his failure to accept the evidence, and I think every judge that has had an election fraud case in front of them that refused to accept evidence should be jailed, or at least fired for dereliction of duty. And the Supreme Court, the what's the seven? Yeah, the five that have denied justice to the Texas case, those five need to be dismissed because they are derelict in their duty, and therefore that is not good behavior. That is bad behavior. And seeing as it pertains to the election, let's put them in jail for treason, because one of our most sacred rights is the vote, our voice of government. It is the most sacred. And to interfere with that, I believe, is an act of treason. Whether it's being done by fraud or whether it's contributing to its possibilities. Many things the founding fathers have put mechanisms into place to prevent election fraud and to deal with it wherever it's found. And anyone that circumvents those processes, short circuits them in any way, shape, or form, should be held in contempt of the Constitution. The vote is our most sacred right, and that is my hot button issue right now. It is now 5:45. I started a little bit late, but I can also tell we've gone over an hour. Appreciate y'all listening to my rant. Listen to my rave. No one's called in, and no one has visited. But I do see an audience today. Everybody does. Thank you very much. Thank you for those who sponsor us, who support us. Thank you to my audience. I appreciate your support. I didn't even get to Herman Cain died, one of my heroes. That happened this year. Maybe someday we'll memorialize him. I have. Still listen to some of his podcasts, some of his broadcasts. But anyway, I've been at this now for at least an hour, over an hour. Until next week, let's be good to each other. Let's give each other a good smile, good word, a word of encouragement. Let them know it's not over until it's over. Keep up the fight. It's okay to rest if you're tired. Take a break and then get back in the fight. Need to, above all else, take care of ourselves. And once we have taken care of ourselves, let's take care of each other. Show that we love each other. show that we care. Do something good for somebody every day this week. Not because I asked you to, but it's because it's the right thing to do. And this is Podcast for Life. Thank you.